all our listeners. Welcome to another week of RJL Sit Downs. On today's program, we have with us the dynamic and sensational Mr. Taj Weekes. Taj, hi. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, man,
it's lovely to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
So Taj, you're a very, very busy man from what I can see, from what I've read, from what I've heard. But let's start at the beginning. How did you get into music?
Well, I didn't get into music, music got into me,
Yes, I like that.
It was always everywhere. My father sang, my mother sang in church. What we did for entertainment in my house, as children, we would line up in the living room and sing to our parents. So you spend the day preparing a song so you can sing. So music was always ever present, I did an interview somewhere a while back and the interviewer decided that my family was a Caribbean Von Trapp family, so I thought that very funny. But yeah, so that's kind of how it was. We always sang every time, everywhere, I sang in school, in church, and my brothers and I put a band together and we sang at every stage show we could find. So that is kind of how it started.
I know you've got your band, Adowa. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
With a bit of a British accent.
No, that is it. Some people say Adowa, but I say it like you, yeah.
Adowa, okay. So how long have you guys been together?
In different formations, I would say for about a little over 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's the longest serving member, kind of like by yourself?
The bass player.
Bass player, okay.
Yeah. The bass player and I used to play in my apartment even before there was a band, so yeah, we've known each other before the band started. In
terms of the band and music, have you guys got anything new coming out? What's going on with the band at the moment? I know COVID's all over the place, but what's going on with the band?
Well, the band is there, but there's a new release coming out and it's just me.
Oh, tell us more.
COVID has presented, all kinds of situations. And in isolation for me, it's fruitful time. So, I kept writing and I probably had written 3 albums worth of material. So last year, I did a session with kind of unique session, though, 197 musicians, one from each country in the world. So we did this project I think it's out now. It's called Earth Orchestra, and it was actually done at Abbey Road Studio. It was mixed at Abbey Road Studios.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which we had the pleasure of visiting 2 years ago when I was in London. But after this project, I realized, I should start reaching out to some of these musicians because they were people from all over the world. And I started writing songs about the current situation. And I call a couple of people in a couple of different places. I play the guitar and I sing and kept the timing. And I sent it to a drummer who kept the real timing. And he sent it back to me. I sent it to the bass man. And kind of we built it like that.
That's amazing. So the power of technology.
Yeah. So there's actually an album coming out of just me without the band. And I purposely wanted to do it that way because I was in isolation. I wanted to see how it sounded with other people.
I'm looking forward to hearing this project. What would you say are your inspirations for what you do? So in terms of the music that you make, who inspires you to keep on doing it?
Well, it's everybody. It's not one particular person, because life is in front of us. People are in front of us. And inspiration comes from, the place where you least expect it to. If you're always open, inspiration comes. So, it's a simple thing. If you're closed up, nothing will come. And if you're always open, everybody is an influence. I don't think I can say one person was a greater influence on me than anybody else. Because every person I've ever met or I have seen, I have taken something from them. Yeah, because if you think about it, and I don't mean to cut you short, but if you think about it, when you're walking down the street, you see people. Mm-hmm. And whether or not the memory lasts for a minute or for an hour, but it was there. It was part of your day, So, in sitting back late in the evening, something might remind you of this and something might remind you of that. The beautiful thing about a song is you don't know what it will be and when it will come. It has a mind of its own.
I think sometimes with the pace at which life moves, sometimes we forget to be inspired by those little things. We forget the beauty in the small things that happen to us, I guess, on a day-to-day basis. That's maybe something that I will take from this interview.
I mean, it's really, and that has nothing to do with music, but it's really, really important to live in the now. Like, as I'm speaking with you, I am focused on you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm done with this, I will remember it. But if I'm thinking about a million other things while we're talking, then I would have wasted your time, because I wouldn't have even given you the time of day to recognize you. So it's important to live in the now, because, you know, the 2 seconds after that, we have no control over.
So Taj, can I ask you, in terms of over the span of your career, let's say as a musician, is there like a standout performance or moment that kind of like you remember that as, you know, that was the best moment? Or I know you say you appreciate, you know, all the moments, but is there that one moment that is kind of unforgettable for you?
The moment that's unforgettable to me, it happened. It wasn't a musical moment. It happened while I was on tour. And a couple of years ago, when we were going on a Canadian tour, I got stuck in North Dakota. It was bitterly cold, and a friend of ours called another friend and realized that we weren't far away from Standing Rock. And for those who don't know what Standing Rock is the Native American Indians in North Dakota stood up for their rights against some capitalist people running a pipeline, an oil pipeline through their land. And everybody knows what happens with oil pipelines. There are only two kinds, those that leak already and those that are going to leak. So, you know, it was going to affect the water and the land. And people from all over the world came to Standing Rock to stand with these people for their right to be. And we happened to be in that general area, and we went in and we played music for the people, and it was minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
And yeah, it was cold.
That's cold.
When we got in there, the wind literally took my breath away. That's how cold it was, you know, and we spent time with these people and we played music for them, and we heard their story, you know, and I saw love in a different way than I had seen it before, because that wasn't people standing up for brothers or sisters, you know, in the literal sense, brother and sister. That was people standing up for total strangers in, you know, unforgiving weather. And that for me is a moment I will never forget. And more so because when I left Standing Rock, I promised to send winter coats for everybody at Standing Rock. And when we came back from tour, Standing Rock was burned down to the ground. So that is a moment I will never forget. Yeah.
I'm speechless. What you described there, just the human spirit, I guess the bond between people, that the fact, take away race, gender, what's underneath, like that connects us all, is that beautiful human spirit. And that's amazing that people can connect like that, I guess, in spite of their differences.
If I may tell you something, when I was at Standing Rock, every time people gathered to pray, they all held hands and they said their prayers to all their relations. So if I held your hand, I would say I was saying that prayer to all my relations. That means we were including everybody all the time, you know? There was actually a song on the last album called Standing Rock. And the name of the album was called To All My Relations, because what happened at Standing Rock moved me so much. I named the album To All My Relations. You know, I saw the power of love there. And when I left the tour was done, I went to Cuba. And when I was in Cuba, I saw the power of propaganda, because Cuba was nothing like what they had told me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen, they could tell you lots of lies. And that's why I feel the job of a musician is to tell the story of the day. And that's what we try to do.
What do you think RJL Radio brings to, I guess, the music industry at the moment in St. Lucia? So obviously it's brand new. But what's your thoughts on what RJL is trying to do at the moment?
I mean, I think it's something that should have been done a long time ago. You know, yeah, I don't know why it took this long. And I mean, I'm appreciative of it coming now, period. But I'm saying, why did it take so long for somebody else to do this? And that is the big question, because maybe it wasn't beneficial for some people, you know? And maybe it was just that we were so brainwashed that we couldn't see the beauty in ourselves.
We are a beautiful people.
So, we're thankful because, and the thing is this, even if people look identical, they all bring their own vibration to whatever it is they do.
Yeah.
So even if somebody might think it seems like something that is already there, but, there's you, and you bring your vibration to it, and everybody else who's part of it bring their vibration to it. So it makes it unique because it is this. But at the same time, I think it's something that's needed, and I think it's something that's going to change a lot of people, and bring some representation to the people who need it, who haven't had a chance, to hear their voices heard. So yeah, man, we're thankful for that.
Lovely. So Taj, for all our listeners, everyone who's tuned in, whether it's Facebook or on the radio station, if they want to hear more of your music, they want to stay in touch with you and keep track of where you are when you're touring, when we're able to do that again, how can they find out more about you?
Well, I mean, we're everywhere. The world is small. You just Google somebody's name and everything show up. It's not like before you have to give, this is the URL, and you have to make sure you spell it right. You just Google it and it's there,
You guys heard it. Google Taj Weekes, TajWeekes, and he will come up. Facebook. You got Instagram?
Yeah, but I have to tell you about the social media thing. Social media was not made for musicians like myself. It's a learning curve, and we're happy to, jump in. But we've made music for making music, not so you can be a model and an actor at the same time.
It's a hard job, isn't it? The social media.
Especially if you didn't get into it for that reason. So I sit back and think of how many pictures can I post of myself? I mean, okay, yes, you're in the kitchen. When I was listening to music, it didn't matter to me what the musician's sister or daughter looked like, or where they lived. I just listened to music. So I wonder if we're actually really listening, or we're just spending more time looking with the music as a backdrop.
Background.
Because it's an amazing thing that people get more people to love them because of how they look, not because of what they're saying. But, that's the world we live in. And yes, if you Google, you'll see my ugly mug too many times, but that's the way it is, That's how it is.
Taj, this has been an amazing interview. I've loved chatting with you. And I'm telling everyone, go and check out Taj's social media, even though he's tired of posting photos of himself. And the music that you produce is beautiful. It is soul inspiring. So I am shouting you out. Everyone, go and check out Taj's music. You will not regret it. Food for your soul. Taj, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been amazing having you on. To all the listeners out there, don't know who we've got next, but it'll be a surprise. It'll be good. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.